Greetings and welcome to a Monday edition of the Shotgun Start. It is September 16th. Andy, how we doing?
Brendan, I'm doing great. It's Victory Monday. We are rolling here, even though we're recording as the Bears. The kickoff just went off. I got it kind of on my side of my screen here, so I might get distracted.
Oh, come on.
Every once in a while.
What a commitment to the listeners here. I like that you're being upfront.
Still Victory Monday, though. It's already Victory Monday. We'll see what happens. Now you're watching TV.
These orange uniforms are, that's so anathema. That's just, the Bears are better than that. I don't know. I don't like the orange helmets. They're just,
every once in a while we pull them out and we
I don't like it.
We're the most classy sports organization.
Okay.
And maybe in all sports.
Didn't you have some guy raiding, the FBI was raiding your defensive coordinator and all this other thing? Classic. All right. Okay.
There were no charges that I heard
of. Sports Minute here at the top, brought to you by Swag Golf. They're the sponsor. They're your friends of ours. Your friend, you grew up playing golf with the founder of Swag Golf.
It's Victory Monday? You didn't even ask why it's Victory Monday.
Deshaun. Well, moving the boys up and down the field.
What happened? What was going on in that
I don't
game?
know. There's so much great golf on. I just had it on in the background via Red Zone. So I think he played well for like a drive or two, and that was enough. There was also at one point I think they were 1 of 10 on third down. So I don't think he was great, but he was okay. Got a text from someone in the stadium, Jaguars fan, because there is a Clemson quarterback that's the worst contract in the NFL in this stadium, and his name is not Deshaun Watson. They have lost they are done with Trevor Lawrence, at least some portion. They're really frustrated with Trevor Lawrence. That was what I got.
I was throwing out that I might rather have Justin Fields than Trevor Lawrence. I don't think it's crazy right now.
I didn't see a lot. I mean, our defense is not bad, but we win. We're 1-1.
Listen, It's Victory Monday because of our insurance guy going out and winning the Crump Cup.
Okay.
A fellow high school teammate of myself and the Swag Golf guys, Andrew Price, wins the Crump Cup.
Which is just, I'm
the
sure
Pine Valley's Mid-Am event.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. So he wins. He beat Jibby Ellis and wins his first Crump Cup.
That's awesome.
Stud player, played at Kansas. He's been one of the best mid-ams in the country for a while. Knocked down the door at the Crump Cup. Wins the Crump Cup. Great job by Andrew.
Is that the best mid-am event to win besides the U.S. mid-am? I mean, that's one.
I think so.
Have here. Yeah.
I think it would be like you probably could make an argument. I think the Crump's the best one because the Coleman is in the spring, so you get like it's not like for Midwest guys like you're not
Seminole.
Or Northeast guys, like you're not in midseason form like this one, where everybody's playing, everybody's at the top of their game. Another, SGS favorite, Andrew Bailey, came in third in the stroke play. There were a lot of SGS. Will Davenport was in the mix. He got into match play. Stu got into the semis. So there was a strong SGS. There was a good chance we were going to come out with a Victory Monday out of the Crump. So
that's brought to you by Swag Golf.
One other thing.
Okay. Swag.golf, I think is the URL. I hope.
Check out they got awesome stuff.
They have a new website. You can make your own swag starter kit, apparently. Great high-end putters, putter covers, all sorts of merch and gear. Their drops like sell out like that. And they've had great slick stuff at our events. Like I've been actually impressed in person. Getting up close. What was your other thing?
I went to a baseball game with my daughter. First baseball game I've gone to in a long time.
Giants?
First baseball game. Yeah, Giants. It was awesome. It was a great experience. Took the ferry down. Took the ferry back. It was great.
Ferry? Oh,
yeah, it was
like
amazing.
Sausalito or something over there?
Yeah, Larkspur. It pulls right into the stadium.
Holy, that's amazing.
It's unreal.
That's great.
Like, I'm going to go to way more because of it.
I would. That's so cool. The boat ride would probably be as fun for the kid than anything else. The baseball game, I would imagine. That's great.
It was sweet. But anyways, I hadn't been to a game in forever since the rule changes. Like, holy shit.
Yeah.
It is like 8x better product in person. Like the action is unbelievable with the pitch clock. Like the first inning, I was like, I cannot believe that the first inning's over.
Yeah, it moves. It moves.
Like it was like jarring. Like I've watched it on TV. It was jarring in person how quick it was going in a good way.
Meanwhile, you got Carlota Sagana being put on the clock in foursomes somehow. Dick Bland getting an actual stroke.
Fine.
Fine. And LIV Chicago is the last bastion of pure, real stroke play principle, or I'm sorry, pace of play principle.
You know what? After cruising around Caleb Surratt's scores, I feel a lot better about high school myself and what Bolingbrook Golf Club did to me. Brought me to my knees. Couldn't break 80 out there.
The Egg Conqueror. Yeah, the Egg Conqueror.
Feel a lot better about that after what it did to a lot of LIV players this week.
Do you know you saw history at that Giants game?
Did I?
Yeah.
What?
Park's 24 years old, 2000. I saw this. First right-handed hitter to ever hit it in the water. I don't remember the guy's name. Yes.
Wait, that happened before we left.
That's what I figured. You might have left. You have your 4-year-old daughter or whatever. You probably left.
We had a 4-year-old and a 2.5-year-old.
Okay. First ever right-handed hitter to hit it into the water over the fence. It went right down the line. I forget the guy's name. I don't.
Was it a Giants guy?
Yeah, it was Elliot Ramos.
You know what?
They're all star this year.
This is crazy. Literally happened while we were in the concourse on the way out.
Going
like
out.
So
you were there.
Exact. Like we walked out of our seats that moment because people we went with, they went to the bathroom and I was like saying I was like, Josie, look, home run. That's amazing that went out.
Yeah, first one ever, 25 years or whatever, the park. So
unbelievable.
That's unique. I thought that was a cool little sports nugget for Swag Sports Minute.
Another great moment. Another great sports moment that I was on the way out of a stadium when it happened.
Yep.
Was a Bears Browns moment.
What? When
Mike Brown had the INT TD years ago for the Bears.
Yeah.
When they had he had INT interception TDs 2 weeks in a row to win games. They had these miraculous comebacks.
Yeah.
Second one was against the Browns. I was at that game.
Okay.
But I was on my way out.
That's a long time ago.
I was on my way out.
Oh, you were leaving
when it happened.
Okay.
We had given up. We had given up on the Bears.
Okay. All right. Love it. All right. Let's jump into golf. We have a long interview coming with Meg Atkins. Great interview on the Solheim Cup. She was there all weekend. That was probably the event of the weekend.
No, it wasn't. RCD was the event of the week.
And probably ended up being the best golf on Sunday, I would say. Most interesting, dramatic golf on Sunday.
Dramatic.
It was, Rasmus Højgaard is your winner. Clips Rory McIlroy by a shot, who led for most of the final round. The great Matteo Manacero, hung steady. Fought back after just not having it. When he just would miss the seventh green by miles, I was like, oh boy, just like he's being dropped from coverage. I don't know if he chunked it. He just was nowhere close. Like he's just going to be dropped. But he hung tough. They called him, he's the spirit of a champion and a fighter. I think the broadcast called him that. Like I've called it that fighting Italian spirit. He hung in there. It was a great Sunday morning of golf watching that. As singles started going with Solheim, I had 2 screens up and running. I had several people from the ground, like golf people, text me who are on tour or, bounce around. And they said, this is the best. It's the best week of the year when you get a proper Irish Open. It's the best experience. Players and caddies, these are people who aren't quick to be emotional or quick to be, treacly and just throw out over emotional bullshit. It seemed players and caddies getting on the bus, queuing for food, being together in the field, in the town with everybody, just walking around mixing. It's humbling and beautiful. It's just engaging. They just give you your pint. They said the whole town gets overrun. He said it was just an amazing, amazing week to be there. And the golf kind of met everything on Sunday morning.
I mean, it was an amazing golf tournament. I think the wind kind of died down on Sunday, and it let scoring happen, and it made it kind of a shootout. I think you saw a lot of low scores on Sunday, and the winner, Rasmus Højgaard, he shot 65.
He kind of ran into some birdies there. I mean,
holed out twice on the back nine. Birdies his last 3, 4 of his last 5 to track down and topple Rory McIlroy, which, just add it to the gut-wrenching losses in Rory McIlroy's last 18 or 2 years of being a professional golfer. I think that's the thing that you kind of take away from it. I don't think Rory, it didn't feel like LA or Pinehurst where he lost it necessarily. He had the 3-putt late.
Missing the green right at 15 is no bueno. I don't know. I think he said that one, and obviously the 3-putt. He didn't have the speed on the first. On 17. Pretty bad.
I think like Højgaard, I don't know. I think I don't think it wasn't like LA or Pinehurst where he like missed a 2.5-foot putt.
No. The first putt at 17 was
bad.
Pretty bad.
Mm-hmm.
Missing a green is forgivable, but he paid the price for it at 15.
Just, a couple sloppy mistakes coming in.
And let's be honest. Højgaard hit it in a woman's purse on 10 and gets a drop, gets a good lie, and then just like pops it out. He said he hit a great shot, but it was going, it was going past the hole 10 feet, and it just hits the pin and drops. That is like holing out from the bunker at 17 was a little bit more of like a I guess, expected, so to speak, or possible. But that was it was a bit of good fortune that smiled upon Rasmus there, and he's headed to the PGA Tour.
And then Rory on 18, I hit unbelievable drive, extraordinarily great second shot to 12 feet, and then you have a putt that hits the high lip, just a soft high lip putt. That's as good of. He hit a great putt. I think that's where I think it differs a lot with Pinehurst is on the 18th hole when he needed an eagle, he hit 3 great shots and the putt didn't go in. I think you feel like I couldn't imagine what that tournament probably meant to Rory in terms of.
Let's add that context here.
He grew up, 40 minutes up the road from there. That's really the first great golf course he probably competed in tournaments on. And to win the Irish Open in front of the Northern Irish fans, to win the Irish Open at the greatest golf course in your home country. This gut wrencher. He
was in control.
Feel for him
the whole way. He was clearly in control. It didn't seem like Matteo was. It seemed like Matteo was the only challenger. Dan Brown was kind of mixing around there.
Angels and demons,
puffing on his cigs with Charlie Hall. But this wasn't. It just didn't seem like any other outcome was possible. Quite honestly, for the last 2 hours, and then you have Højgaard starts holing out and goes nuts on the way in. But yes, it had to mean so much to him. And I think he was a bit emotional about that. It sounded like, this is another punch. It just seems like to be the way it's going. Tide's got to turn at some point. I don't know, how many Irish Opens he'll get in his career, in his home country of Northern Ireland. And then obviously,
what is he going to have? He's got the Open. It's going to be probably 10 years till they host again.
Yeah.
He'll be 45, 44.
And he had it.
Yeah.
It was on his club there.
I think the other thing that has to be talked about here is if you're going to build a golf course for Rory McIlroy to give him trouble, I think Royal County Down is a golf course that it does not fit his game. It's very windy. I think one of the things that I take away from this week is that this is an evolution of Rory McIlroy. 10 years ago, we saw him completely tossed by this golf course. This year, you come back, you see the restraint. It does not let you hit a lot of drivers. You have to lay back into positions. It really takes away a lot of his strongest skill, which is driving the golf ball. And he had the tournament won, except he ran into a guy that went completely unconscious and probably just caught the hot run right when, at the worst time for Rory. And I think like that is like, if you were looking to take something away as a positive from this week, is this is not your quintessential Rory McIlroy course. Now on the flip side, he's one of the 3 best players in the world. And, you expect one of the 3 best players of the world to show up and win at a event that doesn't have like the strongest field.
Super deep field. And it was, I got to be honest, we talked about how he's mentioned how these great courses have started to activate his brain a little bit more in a different way and engage him. We saw that at LA and the old course and Pioneers. It was legit beautiful to watch him play the course. Like obviously comes out, I think he started birdie, right? On 1 and 2, that outward stretch is so incredible run of golf holes. 18, was incredible to watch him play that way. 9, how about he like nukes the ball so far up the right. He's talking about like more, a little bit more. Wants it just to like, I don't know if that's hunting angles or what, but it seemed like he was talking about it by fractions of a feet and yards on the angle to come in. He's got the angle on the right half of the fairway to a left pin. Hits a beautiful shot there. Also misses a putt. Very similar. The 18 literally played the hole beautifully. Played it perfectly. It was just fascinating. Awesome to watch him, and not just him, but all these guys. But obviously the microscope was on him for the final round. He played it beautifully. He just didn't. I don't want to reduce it to didn't make a lot of putts because
he made a couple. He made one on 11.
Yeah.
I think like if you look back on regrets, right? It's the not making a birdie on 12. And then 17 and 15.
I think there's like a fair discourse somewhere in the middle between, out and out Rory haters saying he's a total choke artist, and somewhere in the middle where like clearly when events mean a lot and have consequence, like he's had some trouble finishing them off lately. Is that fair? I don't know. He won at Quail Hollow, and that was like a sight to behold. And that event means a lot to him, and he knows he does well there. I don't know if this was a choke. I don't think I would use that word. What did he shoot? He shot 69 on the weekend, Saturday and Sunday. Just the putt at 17 was pretty bad, and the missed green at 15 was pretty bad. Those were 2 bad mistakes. I don't think it's necessarily a choke. It was a super bad 3-putt. But I think it's fair to like talk about how he hasn't gotten across the line at like events that clearly mean something to him. Even when he has all the strategy and skill, and execution is cooking.
I mean, I think this is the hard thing. I think it's a hard aspect of one of the difficult things about aging. In general with life is like, I think about the world and situations a lot differently now than I did when I was 24 or 25 or 26. I think you have a bigger grasp of your mortality as a, whatever your profession is, whatever you do in life. And I think that's a challenge. I think that, that is probably something like he's a very thoughtful person. I think that being a thoughtful person sometimes in golf is tough. It's kind of like what Brooks said in Full Swing season 1 when he was talking about Scotty. Like he's not even thinking about anything. He's just going out there. And Brooks was kind of alluding to this, like this is what the game does to you. And I think as you age just in general, you realize like a lot of like it's true for everybody. But they're just different realms of things. And I think like, listen, like I have to think that he knew that it was like, this is winning at Royal County Down. It's probably not going to have it for a long time. Like this is my tournament to win. And I think that's like just one of the challenges of being a 35-year-old golfer is that you know that you have 6, 7, 8. He could have 10 more years. He's an incredible golfer if he wants to play for 10 more years.
I'll add one more thing. Go ahead. Sorry.
But yeah, I just think that this is one of the challenges of it is that like things mean more to you and can be And when things mean more in golf, it's usually harder to win them.
One more thing I was thinking about today, especially, I'm not putting them in the same bucket. I'm not putting Lexi and Rory in the same bucket. I'm not saying they're the similar, can't close at all. But one thing I like dawned on me is like, it didn't dawn on me. We know this to be true. You have to be really freaking good to be labeled a choker, to be called a choker, have people say, "Are you a choker?" Like, you have to be in the battle, in the arena. You have to be really good, putting yourself in those positions. I think, these are very different diagnoses for Lexi and Rory, but like, Lexi's obviously been a very, very good golfer for a long time, since her early teens. And she clearly has something down the stretch that's a little more cute than whatever, but I just think you have to be an exceptional talent and in the hunt and in contention so often to acquire that kind of microscope. Rory, though, one other context I would say he added, it was tough. Obviously, it was really hard to play, to lose. But I had to try to keep my composure walking up the 18th green here. I wish I could play in front of these fans and in this atmosphere every week. I think there's like emotion in that, but I think it's also indicative of a dude who's freaking done with the PGA Tour. I think it would have added to like just win a world event, right? A national open that's a world event, not a PGA Tour event, would have been nice too. I think he's kind of had it.
Think about this week there. I just like, I mean, it was an extraordinary event to watch. The coverage was awful. Like, the cameras were beyond bad. Like, but still, it was like gripping TV because you have some of the best players in the world playing one of the greatest golf courses in the world that presented extremely unique challenges, and like it forced them to hit certain shots. It forced them to hit the right shot in situations. It required restraint. It required like a carefulness. And like, I think that's the thing that I just take away is like, imagine if that event had everybody, all the best players in the world, it would have been out of this world good.
Yeah.
And instead you got the freaking pro core, and I cover the sport. It's an hour away. And like, I had something pop up on my calendar one day this week, and I'm like, I'm not going up there. I'm going to be gone this day. I'm not going back. I'm not going up there to I'm not going to be gone. Like, if I was in Ireland, if I lived in Ireland and I covered golf, and I wouldn't have missed Royal County Down. Like, this is just, it's just silly that we don't get treated to this more often. It's the shitty aspect about being a golf fan, is that you see what the sport can be. And we are constantly given just crap.
I had to run my kid to urgent care at like noon, like when they were on like 16. So I pulled it up on the app. The app crashed like 6 times on me. It was like that. Like, why are they making it so hard to watch like this incredible event? And I like put that part and parcel with the bus situation at the Solheim. It's like, God, it's hard. It's hard to be like, sometimes feel like to be a golf fan, to feel like you're getting a return. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, why does this why do I have to find this so hard? I'm not trying to be some old man who can't work technology. I knew what I was doing. The app just kept crashing on me. And I was like, first of all, I shouldn't have to go this hard to find like what is one of the great events of the year could be. And it just feels more thankless than ever. But I just was thinking about that within the context of getting to the Solheim Cup. And it just feels like there's too many hoops to jump through.
I woke up at 5 this morning to watch.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
you loved it. You wanted it. Yeah.
If Rory was in the mix, if somebody else was in the mix, if it was Højgaard versus Manicero, I would have been up at 5, because you just like, the golf course is the defense in golf. And by completely neglecting, failing to care about venues, the professional golf landscape, the only events that care about venues are the Open, the US Open, and the Masters.
Yeah.
What are our 3 favorite events of the year?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's
I don't think it's a coincidence.
it's amazing to hear like these worn down tour people in the circus, the traveling circus that is like a tour golf, talk about how like incredible the whole week was for them just being there. And like, just, you can do this. We can do this more often. The fans and people invested the most in it, and the hardcore fan, like, are energized by this, and they tell others by it, and it just, it can be done.
I got so many texts about it.
It was so hard to find.
I know it was so hard to find, and I got so many texts about it.
We got a request to stop saying the F-bomb from. I'm just incredulous about how hard it was to find. I
just fired up the cock. I was ready to go.
Yeah.
saw it was on the cock, and
there we go.
Just hopped on right in the morning, right at the start of the morning.
In the morning, you had to have your Good Walk coffee filled up.
I did.
Right? Where you go to goodwalkcoffee.com/shotgun. Subscribe. Did you have that? You were fried egg blend, right? A little lighter.
I'm fried egg blend, lighter. I had the coffee machine. I like to usually like make it grind and do everything in the morning.
Yeah.
You know,
5 a.m.
But 5 a.m. can't risk waking up the kiddo.
Yeah.
So I had that thing like ready to go. Just hit the on button. It was delightful. I coffee golf is so good. We get it next week with Wentworth. I saw Billy Boys over going to the West Ham games. I saw he's ready to go. It's a big Billy week.
We're on a good run. I guess a bunch of guys are entered in that Spanish Open. I'm not saying it's a great event, but between Wentworth, they're going to play Spain because they're going to then jump to the Dunhill. It seems like you got like Septic Tank, a lot of guys who are looking for, Ryder Cup points or Ryder Cup eligibility, and just, PGA Tour is not really around. For a lot of them, it could be like a really good 4-week run, and you could stock up at goodwalkcoffee.com/shotgun. What's the promo code there? SGS, I believe. SGS
PJ,
gets you an extra 15% off.
He's not on the ball. He's probably
SGS.
looking up fantasy
SGS.
stats.
No, I'm not. I'm on the ball. I'm locked in. No Bears.
You're not watching the Bears game?
No, you told me I can't be locked in on Caleb tonight. So
use the code SGS, gets you 20% off at checkout. So you get an automatic 10% off when you're a subscriber. I would say that goes portion of the proceeds go to supporting our work, supporting this podcast, getting us out on the road, and hopefully getting you a nice, good consumable item that you drink every morning. Goodwalkcoffee.com. These are golf geeks. They've been a pleasure, like real pleasure to work with all year.
Hey, it also helps get Meg Atkins out on the road, and she was out on the road this week at Solheim Cup. So, hey, I want to do a real professional lead in here. Our Meg Atkins is going to come on. She's going to talk a little Solheim Cup. Then we'll get to the hottest Champions Tour betting podcast and the results from this week's Champions Tour.
All right, we welcome in our own Meg Atkins from Fried Egg Golf. She was on the ground at Robert Trent Jones Golf Club.
What do you got in your mouth?
I think like a vitamin C drop I just threw in like 5 minutes ago. It's not going fast enough. Meg was on the ground. Am I restarting? You just wanted let's just go.
No, we're going.
Meg was on the ground at Robert Trent Jones Golf Club, and I used the past tense was. She was ejected, in my opinion, that's my term, ejected from the media center. We're supposed to podcast from there. So the shuttles are stopping at 6 p.m., which as a media veteran,
what's up with that?
To me, that's preposterous. That's absurd. That's like you've got deadlines that aren't till like midnight. The Masters, you could work, and I'm not saying everybody should strive to be the Masters. You can work till 4 a.m. Meg, sprints out of the media center. She can't podcast from there because she couldn't get a shuttle. And so now we're at Dulles and still in Northern Virginia, but on your way out of town. Meg, how was the weekend? USA wins the Solheim Cup.
Yeah, in the depths of Dulles. Well, my gate is in the depths of Dulles. I went down there and it's like, nope, it's gate A3A. It's never good when you have 3 numbers or letters in your gate assignment. So I moved back up, and hopefully everything's sounding all right from Dulles here. Yeah, had to skedaddle. Didn't want to have my own personal shuttle bus issue getting out of there. But the week was incredible. I mean, it was fantastic. You know, outside of a Friday morning, you know, fans, crowds, excitement, energy, all of that was top notch, and some really incredible golf as well. I mean, for stretches there was some just phenomenal play, mostly from the Americans. But you know, Sunday we had our you know, typical lots of red, and then all of a sudden it's tight, and then there's like that very, very tense half hour, 45 minutes that you get, which was a blast to be on the ground for. You could feel it in the air.
If you just look at scoreboards, it's crazy. It doesn't tell the story. Like, they started the day 4 up, they finished the day 3 up, but that does not account for that like 90 minutes there. Again, and we say this about the Ryder Cup, where it felt like, oh my God, this is really happening.
Hold on a second. This is a great picks pod. This pod predicted a blowout. Don't act like it was close. I want to say that every Ryder Cup team competition has a moment of tenseness. This was a blowout, though. This was a full-fledged blowout. It was close for 20 minutes.
If Albane makes that putt on 18, you're relying on Cupcho.
Left it short.
You're relying on Cupcho.
Yeah, and that anchor
I mean,
match.
Leona had already won. Sagstrom was like taking all Schmelzel could give her. But I mean, yeah, it's tough to leave that birdie putt short for her and not pull out the point. But you know, Lauren put it on her at the end.
Yeah, left it short. What would you? So to Andy's point, you know, he's saying it's a blowout. It was kind of from Friday morning on. Like, the U.S. sort of had a little distance, right, at arm's length. What would you grade the overall Solheim Cup? I wouldn't say there was like an incredible moment of controversy. I wouldn't say it ever got like real tight. It just sort of felt like the U.S. got ahead, stayed ahead, and it ended. That doesn't mean it wasn't bad or the golf wasn't fantastic. I thought, you know, the 14th hole got a lot of shine there on Sunday, especially. But what would you grade the overall Solheim Cup?
Is a B+ fair, we think?
Sure.
I mean, I think that's fair.
Okay.
You're like, were we gonna, like, you know, Suzanne Pedersen walking it off? That's, you know, not gonna happen every time. Last time in Spain, like, you know, that you had the head wall surge and everything. So it had lined up, and everything had, you know, perfectly fallen into place for like that extremely exciting Sunday recently. But you know, the past 3 have been decided by 6 points. Did this one have a little bit less juice? Yeah, but you know, still, you know, things were in the balance there for a little bit on Sunday, which I think is all you can ask for. Like, at the beginning on Friday, I would have for sure taken the Sunday that we got, given how
Sure.
the U.S. came out.
Sure.
I feel like the beginning of Friday, also with your B+ grade, would have been like a D. That was a bit of a disaster.
F. Yeah, it. Like,
can you give us a little insight from the ground? What
I said we weren't going to do this to the end. Come on, Andy. You want to go right to the shuttle disasters. That's what the media tends to do. We want to hear about logistics troubles.
This. I'm very interested in this. I just had like a magical transportation day. So I would like to hear transportation horrors.
People were so mad. People were livid. And
I get why they'd be mad. I can commiserate.
And then I felt like I asked some ladies to talk to me about how they had just gotten on site, so they were still fired up. You know, they were probably annoyed I was asking them, because they're like, "Let us get on the course. We've been trying for 4 hours."
Yeah. And
then like some people like heard me asking them, and then they wanted to share their story. I was like, "Oh, okay, like, you know, all right, I got enough, you know, F-bombs and stuff to write my little piece from you guys." But people were livid. And then, you know, I mean, we can talk about the LPGA's response, but like coming out the next day mid-morning and not like, there wasn't a whole lot of emotion from Molly on like, I mean, it would have been nice to be like, yeah, I was mad too. Like we failed. And it was just kind of a tepid, you know, word salad response of not any real answers. So, you know, I don't know if you had tickets to Friday and only Friday, I don't think you're appeased at all by the resolution, quote unquote.
Yeah, so they had 7 buses for the thousands of people. You wrote it up excellently on Friday morning, and you know, it seemed like people just stopped, like turned around and went home. It was just a disaster. It was a mess. I think like that's now 3 or 4 days old, but they did rectify it right for the weekend. They did finally come up for air, and she did face the press after I guess she like even ignored they like LPGA did not respond to Golf Channel, just like the rights partner. And I know the Solheim Cup is their biggest event, right? From an interest and a revenue standpoint. Like it's a big deal. And you would just think, especially that Friday, that first morning, first tee thing is so, I tend to think it's kind of overrated for the Ryder Cup. I just think like the hype around it's way overdone, but it's a thing. And to botch that aspect of the whole launch and enthusiasm seems as critical as like making sure there was a pin in all 18 holes. It just seemed like a really big oversight. Do you feel like it was rectified well enough over the weekend?
I mean, transportation was smooth after Friday morning, but no, because the only explanation that we've been given was that it was a miscalculation. How? How do you miscalculate that bad? Yeah. How do you not expect the people who bought your tickets, you know, they're going to sleep in and not come till the afternoon session? Like, what do you expect? And so that, from that standpoint, no, not rectified one bit.
It's like having a kid's birthday party and buying, 8 juice boxes when you had 35 kids RSVP, you know, and then being like, I didn't think that all of them were coming, you know?
Right.
I gotta say, I'm done with first tees. I'm done with them. I'm over them. This morning, it's just a disgrace of coverage. It's like it's just pandering. Now on like singles, it's like we show just the first tee. It's all we get. It's all these matches are going out. It's like the most pivotal matches, and we get nothing. We just get first tee vibes. It's just the vibes are great on the first tee. Can you believe these fan support? Like, I don't want to show Charlie and Nelly Korda trading blows out of the gates. Let's just show the first tee. Let's show people running on there, waving, fans cheering. This goes for men's competitions, the Solheim Cup. I want a coverage that shows none of the first tee. I don't want to see any first tee shots anymore.
Especially when you got Nelly and Charlie out the gate.
Yeah.
That's an amazing
You're not going to show
start.
your superstars. You're not going to show your 2 most recognizable faces.
It did seem like everything picked up though for the better on the weekend. I don't know that the golf was, they kept the golf. I don't know. The U.S. just for my money, U.S. stayed in front. That's where I kind of come away from this. I feel like a real happiness for Nelly Korda, quite honestly, for Rose. Certainly, Andy was sort of calling her onto the carpet, being like, "Show up or put up or shut up," and she did. She went 4-0 and 0. Nelly got popped this morning by Charlie Hall, but she had kind of done her work leading off every single session that she played. I feel like a kind of a relief or happiness for those two, especially. A little bit for Lexi, even like to go out with the dub. I'm relieved she didn't have to make that putt for the half, and just like that would have been a good half somehow. Like like the way things were going that last 6-7 holes, I'm relieved Celine just made the putt and put her out of her misery. But I'm relieved
we were sitting up on the 18th green when I saw that message in Slack come through. It had me cackling because it happened so fast when you're in there. Like, hadn't even registered that she maybe would have had to putt that. And I mean,
Yeah.
She was in tears though, like on the verge of tears on the 18th green, not winning that match. So,
Was told Morgan
that
Pressel
was
like shoot her away or from the cameras or something, or like moved her away. So
shocking.
I
That little that few moments was just Lexi in a nutshell, kind of. But
yeah,
happy for Nelly.
Yeah,
happy for Rose. Probably happiest for Stacy, for me.
Yeah,
to just have the vindication of all the hard work and the leaning into the stats and the data so hard and having it pay off this go around. Like she talks about, like she'll bring up the numbers. You don't even have to ask her for them. She's just throwing numbers at you. Like the strategy for that, you mentioned 14, that stretch of like 10 through 14, like that just played out exactly how they had planned, especially for foursomes with like, the better putter going off on the odds. So like Allison and Nelly, Allison tees off on 1, then Nelly gets to tee off on 10, the short par 4, and 12 and 14, the par 5s. And, that everything that played out perfectly. Rose on their like models was the highest course fit rated the highest for the course. Yeah. Like, and she goes undefeated. And then one interesting thing, like she said that they previously had tried to get everybody out in 4 balls before singles so that everybody gets, out there playing their own ball before singles.
Yeah.
The last 5 Ryder Cup teams that won didn't do that. And she said they're probably going to follow that model going forward. So Cupcho didn't play 4 ball. That was their player that they left out. So just like deep dive, not only to like past Solheims, but past Ryder Cups, and really happy for her that all the work over the past 3 years paid off.
You mentioned some of the specific holes, 10, 12, 14. You mentioned the crowds. Grade, like, how was the venue, both for as a, crowd scene and that whole, like, it seemed like it was pretty lively. I know the DC market embraced it quite a bit. How was the venue, both as a golf course and then obviously as a Solheim Cup host?
Yeah, I think for a golf course, the one negative I'll put on it was you don't go out and back. So 9, you're way, way, way far out. So you kind of get out there on an island a little bit. So for fans, you kind of, if you're following somebody and, they're got a big lead and you're on 9 or 10, it takes you a while to get back to, the earlier stretch of the golf course. But from a venue, like that same stretch, 9, 10, 11, you're right by the lake. And so you kind of have the stadium effect going down to those holes that are right on the water.
Yeah.
So that was where a ton of fans were and really good, really easy to watch from there. Like I mentioned it in what I wrote for the newsletter, but like the demographic of this event is so different than normal LPGA event and majors. Like it's super young and there were a ton of men there, like young guys, high school, college guys with their buddies. And that, like, it's not the case. Even like at Lancaster when I was there earlier this year, you didn't see that. So like that was so much of the headache of Friday was like, these are fans who like maybe don't follow LPGA very closely at all and this is their intro. So yeah, from the course, I think, had good setup. 18 kind of gave you that same stadium effect as two. So that was really great with watching, those final 3 groups of Lexi, Lauren, and Lilia come through. Like that was super exciting. Overall, I think the course, they knew it was a fit for ball strikers, and that played out to the strengths of the U.S. team.
18 didn't get a lot of action. Wasn't there only one tie? I mean, it took the 22nd match, right?
That's why the PGA Tour reroutes golf courses.
Right, that's right. You're little Medina. For the Peak Cup. All right, so you mentioned some names, of course. Who are some of your biggest winners from the week? I think Rose, Stacy, Nelly have to be in there. Who's like the biggest? Who comes out of this week with like
Charlie Hull? I feel like there's no players garnering more social media coverage for smoking cigarettes ever in history than
That's
Charlie
gotta
Hull at this
pass.
point?
Okay,
I think it's still going. I think it's still going.
Oh yeah, it's still going. It's still going. The thing that blew my mind, and this is the one time I posted about the smoking, was she like does it like on the green, like she's sitting down on the green. Lilia's literally putting her eagle putt while she's vaping off the side of the green, sitting down, lounging. So like, yeah, like whatever, smoking on the courses, whatever. But like the when she does it and how often, and just with disregard for what's going on with the new playing partners, is like kind of what makes it still kind of funny to me. But other winners like Megan Kang, this is just becoming like her, like that putting performance by her is not her game. Like she's not a great putter. She's just not. And so that's kind of, this is 2 times in a row that she's elevated and been a different player at Solheim Cups.
What about the caddy? Is the caddy a winner or a loser?
The shirtless.
The like all the players mentioned like how great the caddies were for just like chemistry and keeping everybody like pretty, not getting everybody to like, they just kept the energy great all week. So, the shirt thing was something, but it sounds like there's never been better chemistry amongst a team than this Solheim Cup team.
That shirt thing, if that was like Europe, that's like running on the green at Brookline a lot the ball, because Europe still had to play. Now granted they got a hole out or whatever, right? Because was it Nordqvist?
Yeah,
that was in the fairway. Somebody had a shot.
I think it was Sackstrom.
Okay,
yeah,
and these guys are running around with no shirt on. I'm surprised the European press didn't sink their teeth into that more about the unbecoming, unsported
they were yelling about
nature of that.
They were yelling about it. What are you talking about?
I didn't see enough of.
They're so harmless, it's so ridiculous.
It's Mickey Mouse. Get it? I get they had just talked about it on the tee box. Is that right?
I have no opinion either way about it. It's so insane to say it's like unbecoming.
Unsported. I was surprised. They
were yelling about it all over the place.
Did you see that, Meg? A lot of blowback about that, or were the Euros pissed?
A couple tweets, about it, but not. I was expecting much bigger blowback, and I think you're right, Brennan. Like once it came out that they were like just joking around about it, like 3 minutes before.
Yeah,
like they're like, oh, well, I guess we have to. Like we. Yeah. Literally, it wasn't like super premeditated and like, oh, we're going to do this and get the Euros off their game. Like it was pretty,
coincidental.
I think that if it was different circumstances, there would have been major blowback there.
Yeah, yeah. So who are some of the losers from the week? I think like
Allie Ewing.
Yeah, she was the only one who did not win a point. Is that right on the U.S. side?
She lost 6 in a row. 0-6-0 going back to Spain.
The Bagel Girl. She can commiserate with Taylor Pendrith and Corey Connors. Yeah, that's tough. You kind of feel bad. You obviously feel bad for her. It's just
I didn't have like a problem with her as a pick either. Like, she's had a very good season. She's played really well.
Yes,
but I don't know if like the Kupcho pairing too just does not do much for me either. And
do you think she should be banned from going forward?
Right,
if you get bageled twice in a row, you cannot be picked. I think that's like a good rule for any team competition.
Put it in the contract. Yeah. Let's do it.
Is Suzanne...
What would you guys do if you were playing a Ryder Cup style thing and you had somebody on your team that got bageled 2 years in a row?
It's
you
like
probably try and do everything not to have them back, right?
Yeah, I think it's sort of like pitcher wins though too, or quarterback wins. It can kind of be a misguided stat that doesn't tell the whole story of how you play, right?
I think in our version of the Ryder Cup, you'd be like, "Can you please get your handicap up before next year?" Like, we need to talk about your handicap.
Yeah,
it doesn't seem right.
She's getting a lot of heat if Valenzuela makes that putt. And we're in a tie. Like she's getting a lot of heat. So I think she'll be celebrating tonight. Not that she contributed much to the team, but that she's not
It's got to be a weird
the face
celebration
of the
So
losing
weird.
team.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's odd.
Very odd.
What about the Euro side? Any recriminations going on? I'm seeing some media members turning the guns on Suzanne Pedersen for being a bad captain. They're pissed about Leona Maguire sitting so much. Leona Maguire herself sort of being like, I don't know. I didn't really get clear communication on why. I think I would have been good. They said I'm maybe too short, maybe not long enough. I don't know.
Too short in height?
Too short, too Ricky. Yeah, no. I think she said too short. I don't know. I presume off the tee, not enough birdies or high on the birdie rate. I don't know. But Suzanne she's of course authored that legendary moment with the whole the putt, right, to win it as a player. Kind of escaped by the skin of her teeth with some curious decisions last year. And now she's getting, Huggin called her a bad captain, maybe. And Leona's sort of perplexed. This happens a little bit with every often with the losing team, but is she one of the big losers coming out of this weekend?
I think if she gave a clear answer or had a specific reason, if she would have said she's not a good fit for this course, but that's just not Suzanne because she's not looking at data and course fit stuff. It's all feels. So I think that gets difficult when you rely on all feels and something goes wrong. Then what do you say? Oh, my feels were bad. And she was just super unclear because she was asked about it on Friday when she sat for the first time ever, on Saturday when she sat the whole day, and then today when Leona went out and won 4 and 3 was asked about it again, and there was never a clear answer. It was more it's difficult, but she understands. And it's well, does she? Clearly now with that tweet from Leona, that was
what was
form
the tweet?
is temporary, class is permanent.
That was her tweet?
That was it. Yeah.
Oh boy.
That was it.
Oh boy.
So, and from someone who never puts anything on social, for her to do that, there's probably some fire there, and she's probably very upset to put that out there. So yeah, I think
that's why she plays individual sports right there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
but it will be
it
will be interesting.
To stoke the fire.
Come on, that's right. NFL, you got NFL wide receivers playing team sport. You got Jamar Chase throwing his helmet across the field today. There's plenty of team sport athletes who might cause some internal conflict or have criticisms. Go ahead, Meg. Sorry.
You're good. I think it's interesting where the Euros go from here. Suzanne's not captaining next go round; she's done too. And I don't think you bring her back after this loss. So who do they bring back? Do they change their strategy and go more data heavy like the Americans? The one thing we know is Laura Davies will not be captaining. She was asked specifically about that, and she didn't even have a mic, so she reached over, grabbed the mic, and just said, "Definitely not." Yeah, so that was her 2-word answer there. She's never captained. She's been on assistant captain for plenty of these.
Yeah,
and I wonder if there'll be some push there for Laura to do it and add some gravitas and a big name to that team that will maybe rile up the Euros to win in Netherlands. But I don't
think there's any upside. What's the upside to being a captain of one of these things? I don't think there is any. The second you lose, everybody says you're an idiot.
Yeah. Even the seconds before you lose.
No matter what. If Luke Donald loses in New York, they're going to be like, he's an idiot.
Yeah, I mean, that's why Keegan's loving the USA chance at Castle Pines and elsewhere, but that's an upside that I've noticed.
Nobody has ever had as big a fall from grace as Zach Johnson for doing it. I don't think. I guess McGinley would be the one winner ever, maybe.
Oh, you get some. He just contractual.
Bounces. He gets out of it, and now he's
Yeah. I think there's some benefit. Meg,
what if we went with Mel Reed? What if she was there?
Yeah,
seems possible.
I think it means a lot to her. She was in tears down on 18. Carlota was in tears. Emily Pedersen was in tears. Like even like Suzanne got teary in the press conference too when Anna Norquist was talking about how much Suzanne means to her. So like Mel makes a lot of sense. Definitely. I think you're right. I think Dame Laura's a smart lady and she's not touching it with the 90-foot ball.
There's not a lot of symmetry there either with it just being in Netherlands. You know, it'd be not, if it were in like the UK or something, maybe a little bit more. I don't know. It seems odd at this juncture, this late, obviously having never done it. Any other like kind of, I don't want to say losers, but people who could be subject of critique after this weekend?
I think you can look at Lynn Grant.
Yeah.
She went, I think she was 0-4. After her rookie performance with, or at last year in Spain, like, I don't think anybody thought she was going to go get bageled as well. We didn't see her and Maya ever play together, which their record together last year wasn't that great, but they kind of ran into a buzzsaw in one or two of those matches too.
Yeah.
And it just kind of like logically made sense, like the two younger Swedes. But yeah, Lynn didn't do much of anything.
What about Molly Marcoux? Is she like Friday night you were on the NLU live show? I think you guys were talking about like, does she survive this? I think if I'm not mistaken, like, is she done?
Yeah.
I think they probably kind of picked herself covered a little bit on Saturday, but like, it seems like there's still a pretty bad taste in people's mouth about the ALPGA as a whole coming out of this.
I agree. Like, it's not like, I don't take lightly talking about like somebody losing their job, but I don't think it should also be taken lightly the disservice that was done to fans and to the players too. You know, like,
yeah,
like they're not marketed well at all. This is a giant chance for them, and the first tee's half empty. Like, you got Lauren Colligan there, and like pretty much a hometown Ryder Cup or Solheim Cup for her, and like that's the welcome she gets. And I don't know, like the statement, like she had to do that. It didn't really do much for me at all. I don't think she has much of any player support, just from rumblings on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that bubbles up and maybe there is a change. But, you know, as we're all well aware, I think it takes quite a bit for commissioners to make their way to the door. So I think it's ripe for some new blood. I think with the opportunities that are out there for this league, you're missing the boat on so many things. It's
the potential for the LPGA is insane. And
it's so undervalued.
It's just like, I feel like everything you would want the league to do, they almost run the opposite direction of.
The new website's a good step forward. I mean, that needed.
Yeah, the app's not coming for a few, quite a few more months, apparently, too. My point is, like, the baby steps are great. Like the new website, great. The higher purses, great. The ESPN Plus deal, great.
Yeah.
Like, you cannot get where you need to go with baby steps. You have to be a little bit bolder with what you're doing. And, Molly's on 3+ years of the role, and that's not who she is. I think we can firmly say that.
Yeah. Yeah. I think there's still like a massive opportunity with this event in particular too, not just the LPGA. It was awesome to hear Rose say this like week has reignited my passion for the game. It was like, when it means she's pretty deadpan, right? And kind of just tells it. She doesn't give you a ton of emotion, and to say like this has reignited my passion. I don't know if that means she's sort of been kind of in the dumps or stalling out, or just kind of been going through the, getting through it this year. That was fascinating. It feels like there's so much more they could dump into this event too, if it clearly means so much to the players in that way, obviously.
Yeah, it means a ton to the players, and they all show a different side of themselves too. Like, when have you ever seen Nelly Cordes skip?
Yeah.
When have you ever seen her fist pump like she did?
She was amazing
this week.
Yeah,
like that. And I know you can't recreate the Solheim. I kind of touched on this too. Like, you can't recreate that with the snap of your fingers.
Mm-hmm.
But some creative tournaments, like you gotta go away from just more 72 hole stroke play tournaments at very forgettable golf courses, which is a large chunk of what the LPGA does day in, day out.
Yep. I thought it was a good Solheim. My favorite, a lot of coverage I thought was fine. Too much playing through, I guess, but I thought it was okay, right? I'm not going to go nuts.
Playing through on Lexi's last putt.
Yeah. My favorite coverage nugget, though, came from the ground. Someone in the grandstand said they switched it to Peacock. Apparently, like, none of the TVs had Peacock on them in all the hospitality, the VIP, the fancy areas. And these like guys were scrambling to download the app, get like the activation code, and get Peacock running so they could show it in all these VIP areas. That's my favorite little coverage.
They switched it over in the media center too. It's like, oh my gosh, I'm seeing a switch to Peacock Live. Something else.
But yeah, they had to get the app loaded up in the VIP areas.
It's too bad you didn't get a switch to the USA in the media center and catch the tail end of SVU on the way out.
Too bad.
Sort of
really too bad.
That's a rite of passage.
Next time.
All right.
Next time.
Meg, we will read your work in the Friday newsletter. You did an awesome job Friday. Yeah. I know you were on NLU. You were writing, tweeting, all that stuff. Thank you for joining us. Any other thoughts? Parting thoughts?
No, I mean, it was a blast. Like, I know if you're watching or on social media Friday, you probably wanted to stay far, far away from something like this. But it was an incredible few days out there. It's like you said, when everyone cares like that, you feel it. And you know how important it is when you see the tears from someone like Suzanne and Anna, who don't really ever show much emotion at all. You know how much it means. So to be on the grounds for something like that, it was an extremely fun few days. And, Netherlands in 2026, that'll be a fun one.
And the U.S. is set up. I mean, they're loaded. It feels like they have like this new era has come in pretty well. Is that fair?
Yeah, I think you feel very good if you're the Americans. Like I thought Esther and Solheim from the Euros was a nice, she did, played pretty darn good for kind of really the past 5-6 months being her breakout, and then all of a sudden you're on a huge stage. So 2 years is a long ways away. I'm sure we'll be talking about people, we're not even that familiar with at this point with how young the women's game is and who's going to come up in that time frame. But yeah, I think overall theme, like 6 points separating 3 Solheim Cups, it just reiterates this is like the premier competition in women's golf.
Awesome. All right, Meg, get on that flight. Thank you so much for the work. Read, follow Meg on Twitter, read her work. Enjoy Dulles, and congrats on your 2-0 Chiefs going home to a winner in Kansas City.
How about
allegedly,
that?
Lots of complaints about the refs, but
looked
like PI to me.
Well,
ridiculous.
Wouldn't it be a Chiefs game without somebody yelling about refs favoring us? So yeah, go Chiefs.
All right, thanks, Meg. Talk to you soon.
Thanks, guys.
All right, big thanks to Meg. We are it's Champions Tour time.
Well, you don't want to do LIV Bolingbrook?
Well, the Champions Tour is more important than LIV Bolingbrook.
All right.
I don't know. Did you see that Bryson said it was playing like a major?
No.
I was waiting to bring this up later, but we could do this now.
We do it now. He said Bolingbrook was playing like a major.
Yeah. Hold on. I sent it to Joseph because he's going to put it in the newsletter. Quote, this golf course played close to a major championship test. I'd love to come back here. End quote. Bryson DeChambeau, 2-time U.S. Open champion.
That right there, what you hear right there, the cash registers going off. That's Bolingbrook Golf Club. Biggest winner of the week.
Words have no meaning anymore. David Faraday said the course has been the star, allegedly, at some point on the broadcast. Tyrrell Hatton had a hole-in-one, and Arlo just lost his mind. I think when Rahm putted out to win, he goes, Rahm marching right into the heart of the LIV Golf empire with his individual title. So John Rahm is your individual champion at LIV Bolingbrook, beating Neiman. I don't know. Does that change anything about the narrative for you? With John Rahm's season being sort of lost or down. He won the individual championship. I think he was top 10 in every event. Finished
when we go over John Rahm's career, when he goes to his Hall of Fame induction speech, I'm just gonna guess that LIV's not gonna be around.
Okay.
It'll be like, do you remember when LIV existed? Years ago? Oh, he won that. But it'll be like footnote 8F on his career anecdotes. What do you think?
No, it doesn't, like, where his narrative is set is, and for guys like Rory and even Scheffler, is at majors, and he wasn't very good. He wasn't the Rahm standard this year. So it's not just purely a LIV thing. It's like where we measure those guys. He wasn't very good. And I still don't even know. So they tell me he finished top 10 at every event. It's like, I'm not diminishing that, but it's also 56 guys. The bottom is really weak at LIV events. I just don't even know how to place that, right? Is that finishing top 10 in every event on the PGA Tour for 3 months? Is it that? I don't think it is. So to me, winning the LIV Individual Championship, it's an accomplishment for sure. He jumped right in. He did it right away. Who didn't do it? Drop Zone, Kale Samuja, both Vincents, Kieran and Scott Vincent relegated. Vincent Zone is now, they should just name the Drop Zone the Vincent Zone going forward, because both brothers.
Vincent family dinner table.
Brandon Grace and Bubba Watson. I'm not sure what that means for Bubba as a GOATS captain, but they're the Drop Zone. I think that's your LIV.
What does that mean for Stingos?
The Stingos.
Do you think they're going to go for pot guiders?
I think they should.
Bring the pot guider up.
I mean, they've got, mean Dean Burmeister saying it's the best time of his life. He's going to go out there and preach to the young pot guider. I could see that happening.
What if they brought in Christo and the pot guider?
Lamprecht. Oh, just the new blood. How about that? They brought in the tall drink of water and the burly boy. They would really they would round out sort of their roster with that. That's your LIV minute. Congrats to Rahm. Bolingbrook looked, I don't know. The overhead shots didn't make it look like it was packed, but they got through another season. Individuals, Crushers win. They're the 1 seed going to the team championship. But that happened. I think it was overshadowed by Royal County Down and the Solheim to an extent. Not the Pro Tour, but or the Champions Tour, except on this podcast. How do we do with our picks, PJ? Champions Tour minute.
How did we do? I mean, whatever we did last week, with a loss in a playoff, a solo 3, and a T8, we came back with a vengeance, having the entirety of the playoff 1 and 2, and Steven Alker with a huge Sunday to get into the top 5. 3 of the top 5. No,
I mean, if you put our 3 in a top 5 bet, I mean, you could be buying a new house.
I had somebody tweet at me from Sky Bet that they bet the winner would come from Alker, Stricker, and Dick Green. So congrats to that guy.
Couldn't have gotten good odds on that.
6-4. So still a positive payout. So congrats to that guy. At least somebody's making money off of this.
Somebody's eating dinner for free on us tonight.
But
Stricker wins in a playoff? Is that what we're saying here?
Stricker wins on the 4th hole of a playoff. It was incredible.
You're kidding. It was incredible.
I was watching Chiefs Bengals, and I was locked in on the PGA Tour app because Dick Green admittedly.
Was it so electric you're gonna watch the playoff later tonight on tape delay?
Here we go. I was able to watch the playoff. I had some inside sourcing that got me a video feed of the playoff.
Illegal video access before the tape delay?
I saw it happen. Right. Stricker on the 4th hole. They went back and forth. Dick Green lips out for birdie that would have won in the 3rd hole. They go to the 4th hole. Stricker, you're dying. Richard Green outdrives him by like 100 yards. He's Stricker's in the rough.
Is he that short, or is Dick Green that long?
They're saying he has like no shot on the broadcast. He hits a wedge This thing rolls up, hits the flag, sits at like 2 feet. It was honestly an incredible shot. Richard Green misses the putt. Stricker taps in. That's it. Richard Green honestly kind of choked. Had back-to-back birdies on 13 and 14, I believe it was. But
that's Jacobson. Jacobson's
almost.
just waiting.
The prophecy. Yeah. The Dick Green prophecy that Peter Jacobson told us.
I thought he was going to be a visionary this week. I really thought.
I might have to go Dick Green next week just because he keeps knocking on the door. He's going to bang it down one of these days.
That's true.
He's right there. He's so right there. But last night I spent my Saturday night watching the tape delay.
I was watching it too.
I woke up to this text chain in the East Coast of texts of you guys going back and forth saying you were watching tape delayed Champions Tour coverage.
Yep.
I was like, what have we created here?
At
Well, it was an amazing
midnight.
weekend of golf. It was awesome.
It
was like a great windfall. Even down to the Champs Tour, now that we got all this action riding on it, now that we're rolling on a hot streak, now that we're a Champs Tour podcast.
We were told the Jets play in Phoenix, the Cardinals, the weekend of the Schwab Cup title championship game. So I think, PJ, we might need to get you out there for that.
That would be.
I like how you're getting tagged into every little bit of Champions Tour minutia.
I appreciate it. I'm
yoga
fired up
in the fairway.
Yep, yoga in the fairway.
You got hundreds of people doing yoga at this Langford Moreau in the middle of the fairway.
Somebody tweeted at us that the putting green next week is sponsored by Nature Valley Granola. As a California granola boys.
There you go.
I'm fired up. This was great. I just wish this was like able to be on TV because I got to tell you, the PGA Tour app was no help. It said we went to a playoff. The first playoff hole was on the app, like the play-by-play. And then they just shut the app down for the Champs Tour. I didn't even know there was a second playoff hole. I was like, are we going to darkness? Like, what's happening? Nope, no acknowowledge on the app. Would have been
great if it got suspended by darkness and they had to go back.
This is another night in the Dakotas. I love that.
Three of the top five.
I procured some spectacular Champions Tour memorabilia for PJ, so he can have it hang it up in his office.
It's legitimate history. I can't wait.
So I'm gonna try and get to the UPS store tomorrow and send it out.
All right. I think
this podcast doesn't go to the FedEx store. It's a UPS store.
I love it. Champs Tour Minute.
General Patton.
As we record this, Mr. October. It's a September call-up. He's getting hot for October. Patton Kizzire. Who needs 2 more years on the tour? Patton Kizzire. He's going to win full FedEx Cup event, the Pro Court champion, by a landslide. 20 under as we record this. He's got a hole to play over David Lipsky, Northwestern Zone. He's 4 clear of Lipsky and Fishburne. I didn't see a lot of Pro Court this week.
I didn't watch much. I do think we need to call out Wes Bryan. What an underdog story. From the Creator Classic.
Oh my God.
To T13 and the Pro Core. What an unbelievable story. I think there should be Netflix cameras following him around. This is one of the stories of the year. Can you believe a guy from the Creator Classic finished T13 in the Pro Core?
Last seen hitting down the wrong fairway at East Lake, taking TIO to capture the Creator Classic, is now on tour banking some FedEx Cup points. I love it.
That was all a joke. I hope everybody involved with that understands it was a joke. But Wes Bryan, congrats on the T13. Good to see you playing good golf.
Good.
I
think
also
go ahead.
Justin Lauer, good finish.
Love that.
This is meaningful golf to get in that top 125.
Yeah, get that top 60 too, 50 to 60. You want to be around there for some of these guys. So it's a good event. I like what they've done with the fall, quite honestly. All right, I think that does it. A lot of beefy golf. There's so much golf. I feel like we could have gone for another 30 minutes with all the golf. We're shortchanging some things, but
we gotta get to the Bears game too.
It's a fabulous weekend. What have we seen so far?
Well, we're down 10-3. I think the Bears have this cornerback, Tyreek Stevenson. He's pretty good, but I think he's like all-time shit talker. Like he gets on every game of his career. I feel like that I've watched, he has gotten under somebody's skin, and he got under Nico Collins' skin, and then Nico Collins torched the Bears.
Okay.
And he just got torched again.
Stephon Diggs, it looks like. Yeah.
Stephon Diggs. This Texans team's good.
Yeah. Good team. We'll see.
I got it. The one other note, PJ has got me off to a good fantasy football start.
Oh, good. I'm glad.
Everybody
likes to hear about your fantasy.
I'm just saying, PJ has gotten me off to a good start. All the research he's doing while we talk about golf is helping one person on the pod out.
We're an Andre Yoshiva's podcast. That's it.
Keep big high times for the European tour. I always want to tell the people out there, keep the Fratelli stories coming. Might have had a player on tour reach out that just the to-go boxes were getting a workout from player dining at the Irish Open or so. All right, everyone, enjoy your weekend, or enjoy your Monday. God, not your weekend. Enjoy your Mondays. We'll be back with you on Wednesday. Talk to you then.